Why would a government wish to disarm law-abiding citizens? I asked AI, Mr. Speaker, if the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were reduced to 12-point font, single-spaced, how many pages they would take up. The answer is 11. And so our founders were brilliant in their brevity, but alas, we torture and misinterpret those words as a result. If James Madison wanted to be a little bit more wordy, the Second Amendment wouldn't read, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." It would read, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms to defend themselves from tyranny shall not be infringed." Mr. Speaker, the government did not give me the right to defend myself, to defend my family, or to defend my freedom. And the government cannot take it away, try though it may. I was absolutely awestruck when a prominent religious advocacy organization for the largest Christian faith on earth got behind some of these particular bills. They must be reading a different Bible than me. Luke 22:36 says, Jesus told the disciples, "I'd sell you now, if you must, sell your cloak and buy a sword." And why? Because he had commanded them to go out and spread the word, and the roads were teeming with brigands, murderers, and thieves, and their right to defend themselves in doing that which was right was important even to Christ. Indeed, in the garden, Jesus didn't tell Peter to throw away his sword, he told him to put away his sword. And as a guy who goes to the Middle East a lot, I know there are people going, "Oh, there's Garrett throwing his Christianity at me." The Quran, the Torah, the Talmud, very, very prominent in Sikhism, in Buddhism, in Hinduism, is the right of people to defend themselves. It boggles the mind, Mr. Speaker, that this party will vote on party lines to eliminate mandatory minimums for rapists and child predators and murderers, and then along the same lines in reverse, vote to make an 80-year-old veteran who shed his blood to defend our nation a criminal because he possesses an 11-round magazine. Oh, that'll never happen. He just doesn't need to take it in public. Imagine if there's a fire in Fairfax County, Virginia, and the fire department responding goes in to put out the fire and reveals his 11-round magazine. This man who bled and watched his friends die for this country is a criminal, having never committed a crime in his life, because we said so. Sadly, those who vote this way either do not understand what the Bill of Rights means or do not care. Mr. Speaker, I'm in the habit this session of saying things in ways that make some people uncomfortable, so why stop now? The history of self-defense is soaked in the blood of innocents. Karate means empty hand in Chinese. Why was the hand empty? Because the government controlled who had the weapons, and the people who were oppressed had to find a way to fight back against tyranny. Tens and tens of millions of people in the 20th century alone were murdered by their government. Here's the uncomfortable part. Gun control started in the United States with the slave codes. You were not allowed to sell a firearm to an African American. You were not allowed to sell a firearm to an indigenous person. Why? Because the real racists were afraid of the wrong people having guns. That's racism. Not, "Oh, you don't like my bill, you're a racist." That's history. What's my source? NPR. Interestingly, some of the Democrats who drafted those bills would recognize the playbook we're seeing today from Democrats. And what happens when only the government is armed? All too often, Mr. Speaker, it's tyranny. I would wager, and I'm not asking, that you might own a firearm with a magazine with a capacity of greater than 10. That's all, I'm just saying. But when only the government, they say, "Oh, if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns." Let me tell you who the outlaws are. I spoke to a Christian friend in Syria not long ago who was beside himself because he didn't know which of his friends had died. And I have friends in Iran who are texting me about tens of thousands of people who are murdered by the only people in Iran allowed to own guns this month, the government. And Iran's not the only place, and Syria's not the only place. Nazi Germany, no guns. Soviet Union, no guns. The killing fields of Cambodia, well, those people didn't have any guns. Maoist China, no guns. The patron of the Senate bill said, hey man, I was a farmer in this country and blah, blah, blah. You know what? The United States threw off the oppressive yoke of British tyrannical rule a lot sooner than the country that some other people came from, because they had guns. So why would a government wish to disarm law-abiding citizens? Maybe the government is afraid that the laws that they wish to pass are so horrifically oppressive and freedom-denying that they have cause to be afraid of law-abiding citizens. And that's just as our founders would have had it, Mr. Speaker. In closing, I will do something I try not to do too often. I will repeat myself. The government did not give me the right to defend myself, defend my family, or defend my freedom. And contrary to what you may think, you can't take it away. Thank you.